In this week's episode, I talk about Venus stations direct. Finally, she knows who she is. At the same time, Mercury, retrograde, is buttoned up with Pluto. We're going to see how that plays out on this interesting meetup. But by Monday, we got the new moon in Aquarius. Lots going on. So to hear more, tune into this episode of Astrological Intentions.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Astrological Intentions. I am your host, Alex Reevy, along with the omnipresent organizer herself, Sandy Reevy.
It's me. Power up.
It is episode 183 and January 24th. Let's get right into it. In the transits today, Mars, Ingress, Capricorn.
Pump up your jam.
Thursday, January 27th, Mercury, retrograde, Ingress, Capricorn.
Backdoor action. I'll explain.
Friday, January 28th, Mercury, retrograde, conjunct Pluto.
Interesting meetup.
Saturday, January 29th, Venus stations direct.
She knows who she is.
And Sandy's Astrological Interesting Day, Part 2, Sunday, January 30th, Sun square Uranus.
End of the month check-in.
And we're going to give a little bonus transit, Monday, January 31st, the new moon in Aquarius.
Year of the Tiger.
Then Talisman time, Sandy has one upcoming, Saturday, January 29th, to unfold the silver lining. Then on the horizon, we have many things we want to share with you. One new one is the Cws Webinar coming up next week. Then in our house, Sandy and I are going to chat about our holiday takedown and our New Year organizing. Stay tuned for this episode of Astrological Intentions.
And so you finally know you control where you go.
Hello, omnipresent organizer.
Omni, the only one doing it.
It's been looking great. We're going to talk all about this in our house.
Okay.
That was just a little cheater. Okay, so let's get right into it. I want to go direct to all of our listeners. Thank you so much for sending in your feedback. It is our soul food. It is what keeps these roles going on these episodes. And, it's our steam to our engine. Mm-hmm. And it's love and support that makes this train keep running. So thank you, everybody, for sending that in. Also, if you've sent in a review and you want to send another one because you've remembered another part of what you wanted to say, please do. We can never be reminded enough. So this review is from Janice. She says she's talking about the retreat because I've clearly got a lot of feedback from the retreat. She says, 5-star review. Every retreat I have been on with Sandy and Alex has been life-changing. I always learn more about myself that broadens my perspective. It never fails. Each retreat has the most amazing group of women, all beautiful, unique, and dynamic in their own right. Unless you're coming with a friend, you go in knowing no one. You leave with a connection with each soul that attends. Crazy, I know, but it happens. If anyone is ever apprehensive about joining, please take the chance. You will not regret it.
Oh, thank you, Janice. Thank you.
Yes.
I really feel that.
It is. And it is so great because you've created a talisman for yourself that says for every retreat, the perfect group comes. Not saying that everyone is perfect and it's like every thing is, perfect and dandy the entire retreat. It's saying whoever needs to come that will get so much out of it and will, add to the group and create this beautiful dynamic will be here.
We'll attend. We'll sign up and prove to be here.
Right. I don't need to be worrying about making a certain quantity, about, signing up a certain amount of people. It's like this trusting sense that you have with every single retreat.
Every single one. And that has actually helped in prepping because I separate the emotional connection of, I hope she signs up because she's been considering it. And I separate from that. It's like, it's not my doing. It's not my pool. It's not my sales. It's not my marketing. It's just
right.
it will be if it's to be.
Yes.
And the be part is we can't live without bees. You know?
It's about having that faith that whoever is, ready, willing, and going to be there will be there.
Again,
and I love it.
It's up to the bees.
Yes. Okay, so let's move into the transits. Today, January 24th, Mars ingress Capricorn.
Pump up the jam while your feet are stomping. Make my day.
That's such a good song.
My favorite song.
It is a pump up song. It is the epitome of a pump up song, and it even has it in the title.
And Mars here is in his exaltation. So he's in this natural mode where he is respected and esteemed. So a lot happens over these next 6 weeks. So be part of the pump, right? Pump up your jam, get your booty on the floor. You can't be, unless you're doing the whole sexual healing and you're standing on the side of the, what's that song that goes, I'm standing on the, against the wall, watching everybody else participate in the event. I'm here, but not really there. It's like, get out on the floor, right? Yeah. Pump this up. It's practical. It's, you're hardworking. You might sweat a little bit, but it's fun, and you're getting things done. You're moving about in a focused way. Now, let's just talk personal. Mm-hmm. I have Mars in Capricorn.
Yes.
You.
I do too. Yes.
Have Mars in Capricorn. So if you don't have Mars in Capricorn, that we are getting a Mars return over the next 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have Mars in Capricorn, you could use this energy. You can use this very structured, detailed, getting stuff done. Maybe it's a lot of work. Maybe it's overwork. But you can be moving very clearly and decisive and really checking off things on your list.
Yes.
So you could probably put more things on your list than those top priorities.
And I think one of them, just because this is kind of me visualizing a little bit, is if you're allowed, while you're working, while you're organizing, while you're doing whatever you need to do, throw on a song, like a pump up song, because it really does 100% change your mentality about what's going on. You're really enjoying what you're doing, and it's fun, and yeah, it just reminds me of how good this song is.
So we threw it on right before we got on here, just for the pumping up our jam.
Yeah.
And literally your body moves.
Yeah.
It's you're moving with the rhythm, and you're kind
of.
And I'm a
90s baby, so I vividly remember this song.
So, the idea is, use this song. Use this song.
Right.
To wake yourself up in the morning. Put it on your alarm, and it's like, pump up the jam. Get your booty on the dance floor. That's where things happen.
Yes.
So Mars and Capricorn, getting things accomplished.
Yes. So let's move on to Thursday, January 27th, Mercury retrograde ingress Capricorn. So a lot of things are going into Capricorn here.
So let's think about that. On Monday, Mars goes in at 0. He goes in the front door, right? Mm-hmm. This is what I meant by the back door action. Mars goes into the front door at 0 degrees of Capricorn on Monday, right before 7 in the morning, mm-hmm. right? By Thursday evening, the 27th, retrograde Mercury backs up into 29 degrees of Capricorn. So it's this back door. So it's just as Mars enters the front of the building, from the front door, same building, mm-hmm. same sign, same house, Mercury is re-entering the back door. However, they're in this, like I said, the same sign, the same building. What is the messenger planet passing on to the action planet? Well, does Mars even listen? Maybe not, but maybe he does. The idea is, what is this message that now gets to come back in, because Mercury is retrograde. So Mercury's already been over this 29 degrees of Capricorn. Mercury's been over all these last few degrees of Capricorn, but he's revisiting it for the second time for a adjustment, and then finishes up in February for the final time. And so there's this, what has been, on the back burner that Mars says, pump it up, turn up the heat, let's get moving, get moving.
Yeah.
And so we can understand this a little bit more about the Mercury coming back into, revisit, reclaim things that came in early, maybe right after Christmas, the shadow period, or early January. What was coming up that needs to be looked at again. So
interesting.
Returning in the back door with what new information?
Okay. And Friday, January 28th, Mercury retrograde conjunct Pluto.
Interesting meetup. This is pretty powerful. As I mentioned, yesterday on Thursday, this Mercury moving into Capricorn. Now, Mercury has no power in Capricorn. He's peregrine, which means he's not debilitated. He's not disabled, but he's not able-bodied. So he runs into this exterminator Pluto, right? The permanent changer, the death and rebirther. Does Mercury get power from Pluto? Yes. What I like about this is Pluto has been very active. This location of the 26 degrees of Capricorn where Pluto has been sitting. And this might sound familiar. I tug on my ear. Sounds familiar. That Venus was here right before she retrograded. So she paused here for about 10 days, I think it was.
Right.
Back in the middle of December. So she paused here with Pluto, crossed Pluto again. She is not done with Pluto, or I should say Pluto's not done with her. But now Pluto's discussing things with Mercury. And this Venus, even though I'm talking about Mercury retrograde with Pluto, but upcoming, Venus will be back visiting Pluto one more time after her twice meetup. And this time she will be solvent and proper because she is coming out of her retrograde cycle.
Yes.
So any exchange that occurs, which is meant for Venusian qualities, because she swings by here after Mercury has already been playing with Pluto. So then Venus comes in here, sweeps through, and makes everything more pleasant. So don't be afraid to say what you need to say in a powerful force or wanting to permanently change something, because Venus has the opportunity to come through and go, and let's put flowers and let's bring some sweet smelling aromas to this decision, right? So can clean up in proper form what she needs to do. But this April 28th is the first pass of, I need to say something here. I can't not anymore.
Okay. So should we move on to January 29th?
Yes.
All right. Saturday, January 29th, Venus stations direct.
At 11 degrees of Capricorn. She knows who she is. Man, Venus retrograde for her 40 days, 40 nights. I always like to say that this is the astrology's lentil period, if we will, where we are to go off into the garden and do meditation and reflecting of our values, our loveliness, our graciousness, our gratitudes.
And that's exactly what we were really preparing for, that Venus heliacal rise of what are these qualities that we're bringing up to the surface that we want not only to remind ourselves, but to embody for the people around us. And we'll talk about that later on the horizon, but That was a really phenomenal
event that we had.
Yeah, Talisman webinar, and we do have a couple more talismans still available.
But she's able to reconcile the relationships that are on her level. Hopefully, she has taken a grand step up.
Yes.
And she is seeing relationships on this new grand level. She gets to go up to the next level. But she had to go down for a little bit so that she can go back up.
Right.
You know,
it's that reflective period, that retrograde.
Right. Mm-hmm. So lovely, lovely time as now, this day on Saturday, the 29th of January, she will stay at this 11 degrees of Capricorn for about a week because she's, slows down, stops, has to turn and start speeding back up. But that takes some time. So there is this period of, I know what I'm going after. I know what I want to look like. I know what my values, I'm going to go after those, and I'm going to just take my time at getting there, but some things will be left behind. And knowing that that's what you are to do.
Yes.
You've done Venus beautifully.
Yes.
And that's all she asks.
Mm-hmm. And so your astrological interesting day part 2 is Sunday, January 30th, Sun square Uranus.
Yeah, end of the month check-in. Little did you know that when you, January 1st, the very first day of the year, January 1st,
yes,
we had the sun in it's 30 days, 30 degrees. Sun was making a trine to Uranus on the first of the year, January 1st, which is when I started my retreat. At the end of the month, we get the square. 30 days later, it moves 30 degrees. So a trine is 120.
Mm-hmm.
Now it goes down to 90 is a square to
yes.
Uranus. So what do you set your sights on for, or what you did set your sights on for New Year's Day, whether it was an intention or a resolution when the sun was making that trine to Uranus, seemed so attainable. But now, 30 days later, 30 degrees later, we got the square. There's maybe a disruption of these plans. Either sit tight or adjust your crown.
Right.
Right? This is a period of why I called it astro interesting, because at the beginning of the month, first of the year, seems like that was your
astro interesting day part 1.
Day part 1.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, all these new things, and the world is at my feet, and let's come up with all these great ideas, new subjects.
You called it innovate, invigorate.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now we get the astro interesting part of the month, part 2, going, same planets are now in a square. Like, So how to work with that properly? Which ones do have the green light? For those that have the stop light, maybe you either sit tight until something adjusts, like your crown, or you need to put a new crown on and make new adjustments to get something stuck that's out of the way. Or you're patient, either way. But Uranus is the one word it doesn't want to do. Be patient.
Exactly.
So
this kind of reminds me of like a trial period. If somebody's like, getting a new job and they're kind of like, okay, what do I, we're going to bring you on and do this job. And then after 30 days, we're going to check in and see how it's going. So interesting, of course. So let's quick mention that next Monday, January 31st, the new moon is in Aquarius.
Year of the Tiger. New moon at 12 degrees of Aquarius, and this happens at 11:46 p.m. This is Central Time.
Okay.
So this is Monday, almost midnight at night, not Sunday night, which it's almost Monday morning. No, it's Monday night. I wanted to bring this in case you miss it, because you don't want to miss a new moon, particularly if the moon is your time lady for the year.
And this is the first new moon of the Chinese lunar calendar.
Right, which is it's
that's why it's the year of the tiger.
It's switched to, every 12 years it rotates, but then there's water. I kind of forget all of the
water,
gold,
earth, air, Fire.
I think it's more fire, earth, air, water. I thought it was more than that.
Precisely what I said.
Yeah, so anyone that's 60 years old will go back to their birth because it's every 12 years moving around. And so Chinese year water tiger, strength, the exorcising evils, and braveness. Now, that's the description of the water tiger.
Okay.
Let's talk about the astrology, the Western astrology. We've got the sun and the moon at 12 degrees, but it's conjunct Saturn, which is the ruler of Aquarius. So we have the ruler of the sun sitting right there in a conjunction. We have the ruler of the moon sitting there with Saturn in a conjunction. So, and it squares the Uranus. So this will bring in some of that Saturn-Uranus that we had all of 2021. This will bring up any reminders that we are still in a close proximity. We do get close, really close in October of 2022. So these themes are not complete. They are still...
they're a whip. They're a work in progress.
They're rising.
Okay.
However, what we can do is bring these ideas to water and send high frequencies to overcome any obstacles. Because Saturn can be an obstacle. Saturn can be a limiter.
Right.
So we want to be able to move forward knowing what will and determination we have to get over whatever hump we have. There's a reason for it. That hump's there for a reason. Is it just to hurry and go over and crash the bottom of your car? I did that once.
We all have.
Yeah. So you do have to take it a little slowly and move through. But I like the fact that the year of the water tiger is about exercising evils, right? And to have strength. And we get strength.
Exercising evils or
excising.
Yes.
Like exercise. No. What is the lady that was an exorcist? Yeah, the exorcism of evils.
Right. Okay. Well, there's a difference. If you say I'm exercising my evils, that's basically just doing bad stuff.
And that did come off wrong, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify.
What do I say? Excise.
Excise.
Yeah.
I think.
The exorcism of evil. That
Right.
might even be, it's easier as a noun. Yeah,
Right.
okay.
And so we'll talk more about that next week, next week's episode. So let's move into Talisman times. You've had kind of a few weeks off, which has been, great. The universe has been thinking a little bit about you. And now you have an upcoming talisman, Saturday, January 29th, to unfold the silver lining.
These situations are clearing up ahead, and now only in my rearview mirror should I glance there. What is being rectified and how that is occurring is just short of a miracle. I am blessed beyond all measures of rod and ring. Thanks, Venus.
Of rod and ring? Will you expand on that?
I know, the picture of the very first, Inanna or Venus, as she's known, holds in her hands a ring and a rod, which is a short, straight, it's a rod, right?
Right.
Like a ruler.
Right.
And exactly, it's the measurement of justice. And she is what is, diplomatic, fair, honest, trying to have connective relationships. So her picture of this ring and rod, because she is the one that measures out justice.
Ah.
And
okay.
so, again, it's the measuring device. That's how they used the measuring device. They didn't have, tape measures and rulers and
right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So I brought
kind
that
of
in
like
because
about
this
judgment.
is a Mars. We've got Mars. Mars is the ruler of the chart. We've got an Aries rising. Mars is at the top of the chart in Capricorn in the 10th house with the moon and also with Venus. So this is about unfolding Moon is past the degree of the Mars, and whatever issue, stumbling block, or bump in the road is in the past. You got over it. Now you're moving very nicely toward a sextile to Jupiter of optimism and hope and new plans, and making a conjunction with Venus. So this is about, opening up the silver lining.
Yeah. And I like the imagery that you have there, because it is beautiful, and it's like compounding. When you really take a moment to settle yourself in your environment and give gratitude, you realize how many things, like, you start unfolding. Just like, as you're saying, you're unfolding the things that you can be grateful for. So I love that one.
And the rod it's like measuring it in small pieces to move ahead, right? And that's what this is. It's like we're past that, and we're looking ahead. I remember what you just said. My brother, and some of you have been listening to this, knows that my brother had this really massive brain surgery a couple months ago, and in the process, that went well, but in the process they found a couple other question marks, that they needed to look at. And I remember him saying, because he would never have known any of this occurring, and he actually had said, hey, this was a blessing in disguise that I went here so that I can identify this before anything else compounded. So, kind of getting past one thing and having that information and moving and going, oh, even though it was dark for a second, it has a silver lining, and now I can.
And then this is kind of all like collecting into this idea of there's kind of like a parable, or like a teaching moment about, there was a man whose, I don't know, like something about his son's leg broke. His son broke his leg, and the whole, community came to him like, oh man, that's terrible. That's terrible that your son broke his leg. That's so bad. And then he said, maybe. And then fast forward to a few weeks later, there's, the army is collecting soldiers, and they pass over his son because his leg was broken. And the community comes back and says, that is so wonderful. That is so great. That's so brilliant. And he says, maybe, and so the story continues on with him, like, kind of just continuing to say maybe, because when we try to put some judgment on something or an event or an action, we only see it for exactly what it is just then
in that time frame.
Right. But we don't take the timeline into perspective, which, is kind of like the beautiful no of, like, if you would, compress yourself to just one simple no that you received, you would just be that failure, right? But like, if you expand your timeline and can wrap your head around that this no could lead to an even better yes, you're saying maybe that could be, considered a failure, that company told me no, or that person told me no, but not yet. Keep going, keep exploring, and keep this timeline running, because there is something, it will continue. So that just reminded me.
It reminds me too of that measure of, here's where we are right now, but let's keep moving. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Right.
We've got we got our eyes on the front, but we also have a rear view mirror. And these are our memories, and these are the things of the past.
Right.
And
they're empowering no matter what happens. It's not, running through a bankruptcy or running through a really difficult time in life doesn't depict who you are. It doesn't prove anything. That is the past, and it could be bad, it could be good, maybe, So yeah, I love that really spurred that thought into my head.
I like that a lot.
So yeah.
Maybe we shall see. You know, there's
Right.
that word, you know.
The we shall see.
We shall see.
Yep. So let's move into
when I talk to my mom sometimes, it's like, you know, we shall see, you know, staying alive. Because that's the only way we're going to know is to prosper. And even if we do have to, you know, leave the planet, there's still things going on behind us.
Right.
Which is why we set up legacies.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
So let's move on to the horizon. Yeah. We did finish up our talisman ceremony. That was that Venus heliacal rise that we were talking about earlier when we were going over the transits. And this talisman ceremony and webinar was really wonderful. It is a perfect time right now to take on this Venusian aspects of yourself and really let them emote. You know, share it with people and share it with the world, because that is something that we all can do. So take a look at that talisman ceremony. If you have any questions, of course, you can email me, alex@intentionbeads.com.
So just a little side note here that we do this live. We set it up in advance, and then we get the paperwork to you. You're on the Zoom while I'm making the bead. You claim your affirmation as true, and you're witnessed, and and everyone hears you, right?
Right.
Especially you, because you say it out loud, and we say it 3 times. So there's that. Those all are all on their way to you. I always make extras, like you mentioned. I always make extras that, even though the moment of the live event is past, I have some available that I made at that time, because, of course, a talisman ceremony webinars, I picked it because something was happening exactly at that moment. That was a good time, whether I'm online with a group of people making a talisman, or I'm in my talisman room making the talisman at that moment.
Right.
I'm doing one or the other.
Right.
And sometimes I choose to do it with group.
Right.
And so I am going to do several more this year. I think my next one will be in April, which will be the Jupiter conjunct Neptune. Hasn't happened in 12 years. So we want to focus on that. More information on that later. But there are a few available. And you still get the recording. You still get the earrings. You get the paperwork and all the dates that this transpires to, and the description of what that is. And you get that 10-minute short personal video from me.
Right.
So it's the same, but you're not live.
Correct.
But you're alive, but you're just not live. Yeah.
So next I want to discuss our astrology forecast for February. That's happening Saturday, January 29th. That's, coming up this weekend. We would love to have you. It's a completely free event where Sandy and Susan give you the rundown for all of the dates in February. And if you want to follow along with the cheat sheet, that is available and ready for you on the website. So next, we have February 2nd, the CWS webinar. And this is going to be Sandy and Susan teaching about the U.S.'s Pluto return. So tell us a little synopsis of this one.
This has never happened before.
Okay, that's a big one.
United States of America came into being in 1776. We all know that. And this is where Pluto was at this moment, was at 27 degrees of Capricorn. Pluto takes about 250 years to get around the whole zodiac. So here we are, and I haven't done the exact math, but it's 1776, 2022, about 250-ish something-ish years. So we're going to take a look at, we don't even know what this really means, except that we can look at the square. Or not the square. Well, we can look at the square, but we're going to be looking at the opposition.
Okay.
What happened in the 30s. So please, this is going to be a, $25 webinar. Take a look at what this means to the United States' government, to our financial institution, to how, our democracy. we the people, how is this changing? Pluto conjunct Pluto is a transformation of all of that we said that we were once. It's a check-in, not even a check-in. It's a face plant into how are we doing.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
That'll be a very interesting look. That link, if it's not in the description, it is coming soon. And to make sure that you are on our email list in order to receive that, announcement email. So March 2nd through April 16th, we have the Constellation Bracelet Workshop. That's the spring equinox version. It's a really wonderful time to set yourself up for a brand new year. This is like the freshest, little seedling that we can start off with, right at the beginning of spring. So, consider it. If this has been on your list, this is a really wonderful program where you can look very specifically into your own chart while learning other people's transits as well. You get this like really wonderful understanding, not only from your own perspective, but how other people are managing their own transits as well. Plus you get that talisman, plus you get so much more. So again, those dates are March 2nd through April 16th. You're going to want to sign up at least 2 weeks ahead so we can get you all of your
book,
your workbook, and your gratitude charm. So next, let's talk about our Mexico retreat. We are sold out for that first group. However, we just opened up more dates starting January 21st to the 28th. This is our Mexico retreat group 2. And again, there is a reason why this first group sold out, is because this is a very wonderful transformational retreat. We go to an eco lodge. Don't even think about a resort. Yes, it's pretty much all inclusive. But it's so small and intimate. There's only 12 rooms and everyone will know you by name. You will feel like this is your home, and a home with the most immaculate views of the Sea of Cortez. So, everything from the infinity pool to the saltwater hot tubs, the
spa, the treatments, the food, the pescatarian food from the fresh sea.
There's optional yoga classes. You learn so much about astrology and your own chart. And we're
already filling that second one up.
Right.
Yep.
So, and I think this is also a call to everyone of I want to live my life. I want to travel. I want to be able to
meet new
have
people,
freedom and
go see new air, see new space. I need fresh.
Right. And the one thing that you get in La Ventana is that fresh air. It's and
it's windy sometimes.
It can be windy. That's why there's kite borders around. But it's beautiful views.
Oh my gosh. And that's why every single body, all the women that went
are coming back.
Put down their deposit for the next one.
Yes.
So the deposit, $500 deposit, and at this point, the $500 deposit, holds your space. Yes. We will be making an announcement at some point where if making for sure, is that going to the retreat, or you can use that in some other area. It's
transferable up until 6 months until the start of the retreat. Basically what that means, you can put it in someone else's name. You can trade it for products. You can trade it for readings. So that $500 that you invest, or another retreat, you can transfer it over to Bali if you would, if those dates work better for you. But really you get to move that money around if you need. So it's a great,
it's a no-brainer right now to put your $500. I know you're out $500 for right now, but you are preparing, you're prepping something, you've got something on the horizon, there's something to anticipate,
right?
and it's
and
with
get excited
me.
about.
Yeah. And actually, the first retreat I will be doing it solo again. The second week that we're talking about that's open is your.
I'm gonna be there. Womp womp. No, I'm only kidding. Yeah, I definitely help out with a little bit more of the schedule and questions for everybody, and also
And it could
we can
be,
do a lot more techie things when I'm there.
Yeah, and this could be something for mother-daughter.
Mhm.
Because of your young age, that if since the first one is sold out, the second one could be for more of a
And people just get to be within our mother-daughter dynamic as well, of how we work so well together, and we really communicate well and listen to one another and respect each other majority of the time.
Yeah, we do.
All the time. And so I think we'll wrap up there, because we could talk for an entire episode about the retreat. But so let's move on to our house. We wanted to talk about just taking down our holiday seasonal stuff finally and getting on to our new year organizing. So I was anticipating and getting excited for just learning that there's a local mulching for Christmas trees in my area. So I took our real tree and drove that over, put it in a big pile of other Christmas trees.
Oh, you had to drive it over?
Yep. And I mean, there's a $25 fee if you want to, just have them pick them up curbside. But yeah, I why not? It was a nice day. Like it wasn't too cold. So finished that, got everything into the storage boxes, ready to go downstairs. And also last week I had a day of just full on organizing. It came out of nowhere. It was so unexpected. And all of a sudden I was organizing the drawers. I was organizing this. We should take this whole entire closet and move it into this other closet because it makes more sense. And it was just this really nice idea of just clarity and movement and kind of this inner authority that says you know what, this is going to work better. So it felt really good, when you can get that newness of the new year, and have that freshness really sink into your mind of wow, okay, how can I set myself up for this next year?
And my experience was, after getting back from Mexico, I needed 2 days to I don't know,
relax. Yeah.
relax and work at the same time. But there was this last 2 weeks, I got to take my tree down. Oh, when will I do that? Nope, can't do it on this day. I had to put it on my calendar when I could. I have a fake tree that I have to take it apart in pieces. When can I do that? I had zero time on my schedule. I had it put in for yesterday. Number one thing, take down Christmas. And so I started early in the morning because that's when I have the most energy, and started moving things. And then I'm like, oh, now I have a big empty hole here. Now do I move that back where it belonged to? Let me try something else. So all day long, I was in this cleaning, moving. I'm outside. It's 20 degrees out, and I'm cleaning windows from the outside.
Wow.
I am
Superwoman energy.
In my stocking feet.
Oof.
I did not even put shoes on. But it was kind of a nice day.
Do I have to be your mom?
But it really gave me a sense of, because I kept thinking, oh, I'm going to miss that little ambient lighting of my my Christmas tree. And when I move things around, it's you know what, coming back to beginning, coming back to norm. It's time to get this holiday stuff out to the storage.
Right.
And, moving on. And I got that really big surge of newness, even though taking down trees is, and removing all the stockings and all the other stuff, and my glockenspiel or whatever that is kind of
It is. It's a little bit sad. It is. I kind of felt that too. It was a really great holiday. It's kind of like an Eeyore type of,
And then it was
excitement.
But you know what? this is new. Now we can be organized and fresh, and it just
and it
in
opens
perfect
up,
timing.
like you just said, it opens up that whole space of how, when the Christmas tree was like kind of turning permanent a little bit, and then now that it's removed, it's like, wow, there's space here. Wow, I can do something different. And I switched up a little bit of the decorations minimally, not anywhere near to what you changed around, which looks fabulous, by the way.
I wanted to know if you noticed.
Absolutely. That was an easy one.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's all for our
Because
episode.
you missed the last thing that I had.
Definitely. That was a tough one.
The way you and I work often, and I wonder if anybody does this with their mom or their daughter or anybody else in their life, is to put a couple little things around that are different, new, or moved, like there's adjustment being made, and see if it's noticed. So I said, hey, yes, there's something here that's new. Let me know when you identify it. You did not. You always get it, but you did not get that one.
Nope. Which, for me, so consider there are these like kind of like a cone that is like in a Christmas tree type of shape, and it's got these really pretty feathers on the outside, and it's a very, chic Christmas decoration. And it goes and it sits on this like little table that we have near the stairs, and it's always been there, and it's been years.
Well,
years,
come on,
years,
it's
years.
there just for Christmas.
Oh, right. But consecutively for years, it's a part of the decorations.
Yeah, I love it. It's copper.
Yeah, it's beautiful, shiny feathers. So then,
you moved it.
I moved it. I needed to take some pictures. I moved it. And then when you were putting it back, you realized as you picked up the top of the cone that another one fell from the bottom of it. So this whole time, there's been two of these
stacked
Christmas trees that we had no idea about. And you put me on a wild goose chase of, what do you think is different in the room? And for the life of me, I couldn't figure it out. And finally you tell me like
a week
days later.
Yeah. I'm like,
what it was. And I was like, oh, okay. Yes, I could have figured that out, but I guess I always just assumed that there were two. So
anyway,
that's our story. So yeah, that is the end of our episode, I think.
I do want to just give a shout out to Andrew.
Yes, my brother.
My son is at a pivotal in-person interview today
for his career in golf.
Top country club as the one of two
of the remaining candidates out of like 200 applicants. 143 applicants. This is round 7. This is the final round of 7 interviews. And
it's down to 2.
It is down to 2. And he is one of 2. And I have told him repeatedly, this already is an accomplishment. Congratulations. Whatever happens after this, maybe I should have given that timeline talk to him, but it's a part of his timeline. And of course we hope it goes into a certain direction because that's where we're situated right now. But also, like, if he doesn't get this, that was such a huge accomplishment of being 2 out of 143. That's awesome.
This is the number 1 man for PGA,
where the PGA Tour is going to be coming in 2 years later. That you're expected to run it seamlessly. It's just wow. That could be the coolest thing.
So I did. It was kind of like, I didn't say the beautiful no, but it was kind of like, cheering and helping him calm down at the same time of being realistic. And it was, whatever your next position is, Andrew, is the perfect position, without saying over the phone. If it's not this one, it'll be a next one, right? But I also did a analogy of, this is like a game of golf. It's like there's a long game and a short game. Mm-hmm. And Andrew's best part of that game, the reason why he's a pro, is because not only being a scratch golfer, he has got a great short game.
Right.
His putting is his game. That's where he wins.
Right.
In the putting on the green. So I did this analogy. I said, Andrew, you've had to take many strokes to get onto the green, and you're on the green now. So show them what you have and put that ball in the hole in one shot.
Yeah. It's all in the hips. Happy Gilmore references going heavy right now.
Anyway, good luck to him there. We'll keep you posted.
Andrew.
And again, if it's not this one, it's the next one.
And I think that's a great lesson
there with him and doing some of this interview, and he has to give a what do you call it? A lesson to one of the members.
Awesome.
For judgment.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're sending you, Andrew, great love and wonderful energy on this day.
Yeah.
And all of our listeners, thank you so much for listening and tuning in, especially to the end here, because maybe we lose a couple of you throughout this podcast. But
we'll keep you posted on that information.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. And we will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So you finally know you control where you go.